The warmth of his home can melt ice. Today, we're at home with world champion skater Brian Boitano, who will show us his San Francisco home, where he's created a cozy escape with the feel of an Italian villa. Welcome to At Home with Brian Boitano. I'm Joy Philbin. Our guest today is a world-class figure skater and a man who makes a spin look like a walk in the park. Brian Boitano has dazzled audiences around the world with his power and panache. Not surprisingly, his personal sense of style is rather dazzling as well. He could have lived anywhere, but he chose San Francisco, and he created a colorful and vibrant home, a warm change from the ice rinks where we've come to know him. There it is, that bridge, one of the world's most famous landmarks and the signature of the city by the bay, San Francisco, California. Home to cable cars, Fisherman's Wharf, and one heck of an ice skater, Brian Boitano.
I live in San Francisco because it is the most beautiful city in the entire world. And I've been everywhere, I've seen everything, and it is by far the best. It has the most to offer.
Brian Boitano's amazing life as a figure skater has taken him around the world and back. He has won more than 50 titles, including 23 international gold medals, 2 world titles, and an Olympic gold. He has also been inducted into 2 U.S. Figure Skating Halls of Fame. The road to stardom began in 1972 when an energetic 8-year-old traded in his roller skates for ice skates. It was apparent from the start Brian was a born champion and destined for fame. In 1990, Brian became an actor and won an Emmy for his starring role in the movie Carmen on Ice. He also became a best-selling author. In 1995, he co-founded a company that produces critically acclaimed figure skating specials for television and live audiences. Lucky for all of us, Brian Boitano still finds time to skate. He practices 5 days a week in the city he has called home since 1986, San Francisco. He made a permanent move to the Bay Area when he began training for the 1988 Olympic Games. He wanted to establish roots, and he wanted to find a home.
I knew I wanted a large house, so when I came home from my trips, because I'm on the road so much, I could spend the whole day in my house and not feel stir-crazy, not feel like I had to get out of the house.
It's easy to understand why Brian never wants to leave his home. Walking into it is like stepping into a cozy Italian villa. In fact, the rich colors and warm tones were inspired by trips abroad.
I would say the overall look is eclectic, teetering on Tuscan. The colors that I love, I love oranges and yellows, and I like to go to Tuscany, and everything that I see, I just love the colors, the earthy, warm colors.
Even the walls are painted a sun-kissed gold, which Brian says took time and imagination to explain to his painter.
I told him that when you hold brandy up to the light, at sunset, the light that comes through the brandy and the color it creates when it's on the floor, that's the color that I want of the walls. And it's a faux finish, but just ever so delicately. And then it has a glaze, a shiny glaze over the top, which I really like.
The spacious 2-story townhouse was built in 1936, and Brian is only its second owner. He did all of the decorating himself, saying he rates comfort slightly ahead of style, but it is clear he never sacrificed one for the other.
I'm not really a person that believes that there's a dictionary on how to do things. I really think that you should put things that you like in a house. And whether the couch goes necessarily with the chest next to it, you know what? If you like both of them, then they go together well enough for me.
In the living room, which combines traditional and contemporary furnishings, Brian chose a plush cotton fabric for the sofa. A large ottoman doubles as extra seating and adds a splash of color to the center of the room. A large stone mantel is original to the house and something Brian wanted to keep. The mirror above it was a sentimental gift.
My Aunt Tree gave me that mirror that was at the end of her hallway, and at first, I was like, Aunt Tree, I don't really want that mirror. It's a little over the top for me, but it works fine. It works great in this room. She also gave me the large candlesticks that were from an altar in a church that burnt down, that she made so many contributions to the church that they wanted her to have a piece of the church, and so she gave me those candlesticks.
From the vaulted ceiling hangs an ornate chandelier that anchors the room.
This is an antique that's been restored. It's my favorite piece. I think it weighs 50 pounds. And so the ceilings had to be reinforced. When it's nighttime here and it goes on and off and it dims, it's just the most beautiful piece.
At first, Brian was uncertain about what to put on the far side of his living room, but he decided to take a chance on an unusual choice. He had always wanted a pool table, but one designed to look like a piece of furniture.
I think the pool table should be a piece of furniture, especially since it's such a large part of the living room. I like the old-fashioned aspect of having pockets instead of the running trailways underneath it. I wanted it to go along with the color scheme in the living room, so I chose the camel top instead of your usual kind of green top. So it is an impressive piece of furniture.
Brian designed a cover to protect the pool table when it's not in use. The cover is made of a silk cotton blend fabric and adds an unexpected touch of elegance to the area. Next to the pool table is another of Brian's ideas. This coral-colored ultra-suede bench designed for a specific purpose.
I actually custom measured it to sit up high enough so people could watch the pool game, no matter how short they were, and run the length of this wall, to sit under the painting.
The layout of Brian's home is a bit unusual. In fact, this spacious living area is the only room upstairs. A master staircase leads downstairs to the rest of the house. The rail of the stairs was faux painted to look like aged brass.
No, I didn't want black wrought iron. It was a little too Spanish for me. I wanted to go Spanish meets Tuscan.
Next to the staircase is a light-filled foyer where Brian makes a strong less is more statement with a dark wood and leather chair.
I just loved the chair. I thought it was just so special and so different. So I think in a situation like that, when you have such a special piece, you really need to have a place where you can focus on just that one piece.
Another antique hangs above the chair.
The painting is an icon that I bought in Lucca, Tuscany, last year. I'd always wanted an icon. And the frame is 15th century, and the painting is 16th century. It's a real special piece to me. I like it.
Every inch of Brian Boitano's home was planned, decorated, or reconstructed over a 9-month period. Today, it's exactly what he needs it to be, a quiet and peaceful refuge for a busy athlete and performer. One more thing about that beautiful pool table in Brian's living room. Brian's father owns a billiard hall, and he's very fond of the game. Now it's something that Brian and his dad can enjoy together. And Brian says his dad never runs out of holiday gift ideas. He just buys more accessories for the pool table. There's much more to see at home with Brian Boitano. Still ahead, you'll never believe where this colorful room is located. And when we come back, pumpkin-colored walls. Welcome back. I'm Joy Philbin. When international skating star Brian Boitano began to renovate his San Francisco home, he started downstairs with the most important room in his house, his kitchen. He wanted something casual, airy, and Italian. And you know what? He got it. Brian Boitano's Tuscan-style kitchen is the gathering place of his home. It's hard to imagine that it was once 3 tiny rooms, but Brian changed that. Walls were removed to accommodate an island, storage space, and a small seating area.
I wanted sort of a European country kitchen, but in the city. I didn't want it to be too rustic, but I wanted the rustic feeling because rustic always gives me the feeling of warmth.
Never one to shy away from color, Brian has used a rich blue-green color to accent a hutch in the kitchen.
That was a clean pine cabinet when I bought it, and I had it actually antique painted.
The island countertops and backsplash are covered in terracotta-colored tiles imported from Italy. Natural wood cabinets add to the light and airy feeling of the room, while a 1950s stove sits inside an arched niche along the back wall.
The only thing that is original in the kitchen is the stove came with it. And I wanted to create sort of an antiqued brick nook for the stove. So we took terracotta bricks, and then the guy antiqued the bricks with concrete, with a sponge and concrete, so that it would look antique like I liked.
The stove may get its share of attention, but the piece that gets the most comments in Brian's home is the French Provincial cutting table. Eye-catching, yet practical.
That table was in a pub in Europe, so it has a lot of wear and tear, but I do actually use it.
A contractor filled the natural cracks and gaps in the pine floors with a black paste to accentuate their wide planks in color and to add to the rustic charm of the room.
He took a knife and carved, larger openings and then backfilled the planks.
Connected to the kitchen is the formal dining room, a space that came together over time as Brian searched for and found just the right furnishings for the room.
When I travel, I try to go antique shopping a little bit and have pieces shipped so that the house is even more diverse in that way.
Small cherubs have been added to each corner of one entrance to the dining room. They add to the Romanesque look of the space and round off square edges. The original 1930s crown moldings, painted a crisp white, framed the dining room and accentuate its boldly colored walls.
I love pumpkin color. The walls originally were painted the ceiling color, which is more of a pumpkin color. And then I had the same guy who did all the faux painting around the house come in and put like a coral color that was an exact replica of the color from the carpet, and then laid it over the pumpkin so that the rug and the walls would go together.
Brian wanted to steer away from traditional carpeting, so instead of one long runner here, he came up with something a little different.
The 3 little rugs in the hallway, they're prayer rugs. They're just perfect. I love them.
They are perfect, Brian. The question is, where does that hallway lead? When we come back, you'll find out as we tour Brian's beautiful master bath and hear the story behind these Roman numerals painted on the wall. Plus, we'll find out where the skating star hangs out when he has a little free time. And still ahead, color and style in an unexpected place.